Okay, this is a problem from the homework assignments. Problem number 12, where it asks you to find the point on the graph of the function that is closest to the given point. I know from a previous experience there have been a lot of questions on this type of problem, so we're going to go through this one together. The function given is f of x equals x squared, or a parabola. The given point is 2 1/2, this point over here. And what we're trying to do is minimize the distance between this point, xy, and the point down here, 2 1/2. That's a straight line, believe it or not. And also, this parabola was done by me, not a 3-year-old. You can critique me when I get back. But we're trying to minimize this distance, okay? So we need to use the distance formula as our primary equation. And to do that, rather than using the distance formula, we're just going to set up a right triangle here. And yes, this is a right triangle. And use Pythagorean's theorem to represent, or find, I should say, this side, side D. Okay. The distance horizontally between these 2 points, 2 1/2 and xy, is the distance along the x-axis. So if we take and subtract the x value here from the x value here, or vice versa, I'm going to say 2 minus x, that would be the horizontal distance along this right triangle. The vertical distance comes from the difference between the two y values. Since I started with 2 here, I'm going to start with 1/2 over here. And this vertical distance I'm going to call 1/2 minus y. And we know from Pythagorean's theorem then that d squared is equal to the 1/2 minus y squared plus the 2 minus x squared. Now before we try to optimize this problem, or minimize the distance by finding the derivative, we notice that we have two variables over here, and that'd be very difficult to differentiate this side of the equation with two variables. So I'm going to come up with a secondary equation, which was actually given to us, f of x equals x squared, or y equals x squared, and substitute those values in for y into this problem so that I only have one variable. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to say that d squared equals 1/2 minus y is now x squared, the group squared, plus 2 minus x, the group squared. And these podcasts only last about 5 minutes, so there's one more step that I'm going to do before moving on to another podcast. We're going to do a little simplification here before we find the derivative. We're going to say that d squared is equal to, and then I'm going to actually FOIL this out. So first times first would be 1/4 here. We'd have minus 1/2 x squared minus 1/2 x squared, which would just be minus 1x squared. And then a negative x squared squared would be a positive x to the 4th. And then over here when we FOIL out, we'd get a plus 4 minus 2x, and minus 2x would be minus 4x, and then plus x squared. And I'm going to leave it at that right now. We'll open up the next podcast with this formula, do it a little more simplifying, and then find the derivative of it. So I'm going to stop it right here.